Hey, what's up? This is Lucas. Saturday night, sitting in the parking lot at work. Yay! Home sweet home, right? Home sweet homeless. One of the two. One of the three. So far I had a very different weekend, I guess you can say. I mean, it was okay. It could have been worse. Really could have been worse. Last night I went to a show out in Salt Lake, and it wasn't usually when I go out to Salt Lake to shows, it's with friends usually, and this time it wasn't. Everybody else was doing other stuff, and so I kind of just went to see a couple bands play by myself. The bands were okay, not really what I was in the mood for, but I hung out anyways and sat outside in the smoking area and just enjoyed the cool breeze and watched people as they were coming out to smoke, and talked to maybe 2 people the whole night. I was there for a couple hours, and then decided to just crash up there, and woke up this morning and wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but last weekend I went to Sound Bath up in West Jordan, which was really cool. I was told I had somewhat of a DMT release naturally in this session from the visuals and the things I was seeing as the meditation was going. And it was really cool. It really put me on that cloud 9. And that night went to a karaoke bar for a friend's birthday, and I'm not a big fan of karaoke, but wanted to support the cause. And so I was on this, after the meditation and everything, I'd just been on this higher level frequency, it felt like, and it was a good time. So today I had planned on going to another sound bath up in Lehigh, promoted by the same person who I had seen an ad on Facebook and got in contact with her, and finally went up last weekend. But I was heading out there today. It was around, I think it started at 10, so it was around 9:30, and I got as far as West Jordan, and I blew a tire on my car on the freeway. Luckily I was in the furthest lane right, so it didn't take me long to get over after I realized what was going on. So it didn't damage my rim, but it did ruin the whole inside of the tire. So luckily, of course, I have the basic needs. I have a jack, I have a spare, so I was able to hurry up and do a pit stop and reverse and the tires and everything, and then proceeded to go to Discount Tire, where I bought the tires in February. And I ended up getting a new tire, getting all new lug nuts, because I have these caps on mine that don't allow you to torque them as good as they're supposed to. So it was one of those unexpected things. I was looking forward to getting grounded again with these frequencies of the sound baths, and wasn't able to. But I didn't really. That's a different thing. That's the difference I see in me nowadays. From taking this journey I've been on since I've been, just the journey of life itself, and all the experiences and all the, expectations that we, through our programming. I think our programming causes us to have expectations, really. And expectations, I was taught in a 12-step program, are just a setup. It's a setup for I don't want to say failure, but it's a premeditated resentment, pretty much, when you have expectations of certain events, certain people doing things, yourself. If you have expectations of self, as long as they're realistic, but in all reality, when we expect, like, you got plans to do something and then something happens along the way, like today with me. In the past, I would usually lose my shit and be all pissed and it's a shitty day. Instead, what I did was I just came back to my area in North Salt Lake and just chilled. I was like, I was looking forward to the calmness of the sound bath and wasn't able to make it, so I'm just gonna chill. And I got invited to go out to North Ogden, but after everything with the car today, I was just like, nah, I'm cool. I'm just gonna stay in my area and relax. I ended up going to work and working on some of my drug and alcohol. Busted out a chapter that's due on Wednesday for that. Bust out the other one tomorrow, probably. Wash a blanket and a pillow, get my shit cleaned up. Having to get my spare out of the trunk actually motivated me to take my car to the car wash and actually pull everything out, vacuum out the trunk, get debris and dirt that's in there out, and actually arrange it a little bit better, so when you open it, it just doesn't look like clothes here and tools here, and everything's a little bit more organized. So I did do that today. And I was at work and the bathrooms were kind of a little bit messy from walking in and out of the dirt, so I worked a little bit for free, cleaning up the place a little bit, so when you come in it looks nice. And it's so weird because I'm at this juncture in my life where I do a lot of things alone. I do go and meet up with people and do hang out and listen to music and stuff like that, but if, like, I'm not invited to something but something pops up and I want to go, I really can't find anybody to go with me most of the time. Or not sporadically. Like, I can do things sporadically, and that's amazing. Again, I was looking forward to, because we were supposed to have rehearsal last night, but some unfortunate events are happening in my guitarist's life, so she had to go back to Florida today to check up on her dad, see if he's going to be passing away soon or what. So so I guess I was looking forward to that. Since that didn't happen, I didn't want to just be like a bump on a log and be like, call it an early night. I wanted to be entertained, because this week work was long, and what I like to do is be entertained. I like to laugh. I like to listen to good music, live music preferably. And so I don't go to the places I used to go, like, say, a year ago. Like, there'd be plenty of entertainment at these spots that I used to go, but I just don't go anymore. There's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot of indifferent things that have happened. It's people, places, and things that I've known for years and years, a couple decades, just really don't resonate with me anymore. And I don't think it's the fact that I'm getting older. I think it's the fact that I'm just not jiving with the energy that's being put out there. I had another person today, and it was like one of those situations where you really want to help, but you really need to be cautious of what one's doing. And it's a girl I met on Facebook, been talking to off and on for like 3 months, and the other week I actually we actually got to meet face to face, and it was over at her boyfriend's house, because I wasn't trying to hook up with her by any means. I was just trying to make friends, and I don't really have people unless I have to travel. I don't, usually I'm looking for, if I'm gonna hang out and smoke, I usually like to smoke with people. So that was my full agenda with this person, and to get to know her. And I've invited her to concerts, to do things, but when I finally met her a few weeks back, I realized some things about her, and they resembled a lot of my last girlfriend, and that it's not that I didn't like it, I was like, oh, okay, so I had to put up a lot of, not that we're it was just a friendship anyways, which is cool, but with all the similarities of the last person I was with, it was really just kind of a little bit uncomfortable to a degree. But she was still cool, and we hung out for a couple hours, and she's with somebody she doesn't want to be with, and she has no job, and it's just, the similarities were just crazy. I think the only difference was the person I used to be with, people would take her in. They would bitch and moan about it, but they'd take her in. And this person, she reached out and she tried to get a motel last night and paid, but she paid for the motel supposedly, but they needed her ID. And this is the part that didn't make sense, because usually they ask for your ID before they take a payment. At least that's been my experience with motels. And so supposedly they took her money and then asked for ID, and she had ended up couldn't find it or lost it or something, I don't know. And so they weren't able to refund her money or give her a room because she didn't have ID. It was like, and I thought about this story. I'm like, what? Something sounds off. Anyways, she got a hold of me to see if I would put the motel room under my name. And at first I was like all for it, in my head. I didn't tell her straight up. I was just like, oh yeah, I could do that. But then I was like, a part of me was like, wait a minute. You got a lot of legal shit going on. Are you sure you can trust this person to and then she continues to tell me that she has these kittens that are really sick. And I'm like, so you got the kittens with you? Are you going to tell the motel place that you have them? And she's like, no, I'm going to sneak them in. And right off the bat, I just got a weird feeling about it, because they have, I don't know. I don't like doing shit like that, especially if my name's on it. In the past, I probably would have been like, yeah, I'll get you a room, but you gotta let me stay there too, and who knows what would have happened then. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make, and the growth that I've seen in myself, which is really important for me to see that growth of how I used to be to how I am today. And I could blame it on my last relationship, why I'm so guarded and shielded and I have these barriers put up. But I don't need to do all that. Even if it was for like a one night stand, it's just not how I am anymore, and it's not something I want to do. And I even called a friend asking her opinion on it, because I was kind of like mulling it over, but I was like, I don't know if I want to do this or not. Not really sure if this will be a good thing. Is it gonna, am I gonna? And I even texted the person and was like, I have a lot of trust issues with people. I've been through the ringer, as she has as well. So I'm pretty sure she gets where I was coming from, and I said I'm not really trusting of people because of my past things, and it's something some people say, well, you're living in the past, you're not allowing the moments to happen and enjoy the moment, be in the moment, but really having experienced many different types of relationships, I just had that intuition that maybe it's not a good idea, and I really want to help her because and I asked her questions like, well, are you just getting a room for the night? And she's like, yeah. And I said, it's only for you. She's like, yeah. And I was like, what are you gonna do after that? After your night's over and you got to check out? She told me her mom's gonna help her. I don't know. It was just like one of those moments. In the past, I would have been all down to do it because I live in my car too, and she's now living in her car, and I just gotta really look out for myself now. Now that I'm alone, which I'm never alone, I always have my angels. That's a given, because today could have been a really bad day on the freeway if I would have been, say, in the fast lane doing 80 and that tire blew. I don't know what could have happened on that freeway. So very blessed today that I'm still here, even though life's tough and life gets challenging and life gets trying, and sometimes I wake up and I just don't want to do it, but I suit up and show up anyways because that's what I'm here to do. It's just been a really weird day and night. Even at the show is kind of weird because I'm used to having people to talk to, and I just kind of sat there and there's tons of people there. I think like I said, I talked to like 2 or 3 people, and only for a little bit, but there was people around me too, and I just kind of was in my own little world, listening to the music from a distance, smoking, enjoying the cool breeze after a hot day. It was really nice, but it was weird at the same time because I usually don't go out by myself like that, not usually. There's always somebody that I know going to the local spots to watch bands. So very interesting. I had the choice of going to an expensive show or a cheaper show. Luckily I chose a cheaper one because today's little hiccup on the road, it cost me a little over $100 just to replace the tire and a couple other things they had to do to it. So if I would have took that more expensive route, then it would have been me calling daddy for some money to get this fixed, and it was kind of nice not being able to have to do that. I had enough money left over from my payday to be able to get things accomplished. I did talk the guy down off $60 on the lug nut switch that was originally $90. So I was like, hey, I only got $30. He said, okay, I'll do it for $20. This was at Discount Tire of all places, so I don't know, it was cool. I guess people do like me to a degree when they want to or when they need to, and that's what it kind of feels like sometimes to me. I'm there when I'm needed, and sometimes when I feel like I need people, it seems like I can't find any, or I'm just don't got the energy. All good things come to us, and anything that is that happens that's not naturally organic it's probably not meant to be as far as like meeting people and relationships. If you have to force things to happen, it's not really gonna be what you signed up for in the long run. So, and that's okay. That's okay today. I accept it. I'm good with it. When it's time, it's time. Divine timing. It's a real thing. Real thing. I've had moments where I thought I was in divine timing and I was in divine me. It was all about me. So today I don't feel like, you do kind of got to be about you. You got to protect yourself. There's a lot of people that don't know how to treat people. There's a lot of people that are pre-programmed and that are stuck there in that programming. And I'm slowly rewiring everything within myself to do things different and to not be stuck in this programming. The job factor, kind of stuck doing that. The modern day slave. We're kind of all stuck doing that. Some of us get away with doing the bare minimum and still get stuff done and still have a place to live. Some of us bust their ass and have a car to live in. And that's okay too. Everything's a choice. Although I didn't choose for all the prices to hike up, but that's just part of life. This is how you separate the weak from the strong. People who can adjust and adapt really quick to life-changing situations, they're the warriors in my book. And I'm not saying I'm big bad and can do anything. I'm just saying that it's a different, it's really different from being sheltered to being a person who has to figure out things without, it's funny because I don't really figure out much. I allow the energy to flow and go with that flow because I made a lot of changes within the last year. I had made a lot of moves within the last year too, and I met a lot of people and had a lot of just crazy shit happen to the point of, okay, if I can get through all these things, I can get through whatever's next. Not having a nervous breakdown in certain situations has been amazing. It's shown me who I really am, and it's not about showing other people. It's about, I need to show myself who I really am in order to be, I don't want to use the word act accordingly, but that's the English language. That's what we say, act accordingly. It's not an act though, it's just do according to the flow. And I thought today was going to be one of those days, it was about going to the sound bath, and then, the universe will set me aside and say, okay, today is not the time. Even though it's good for you to get grounded like that, you need to learn how to ground yourself. Because you have all the tools, and I think the universe was like, do something that's going to help you get grounded. And by coming back to my area today after the blowout and getting it fixed, took a couple hours. I was just like, I'm coming back, clean the car, clean up at work, be productive, get my drug and alcohol chapter written out and read upon, and do a little laundry and just kind of be in the moment. I don't always have to. I realize sometimes I spend time trying to create a moment, and it's unnatural so the moments aren't as good or existent sometimes, you know. You can try to create, you can definitely manifest. But I think it's really easier. I mean, if you already have the intention to do something, just do it and allow the creation to happen. I find myself a lot trying to, you know, create these, and it's really, for me, it's unnecessary because my life is already creative and interesting enough as is now, because, you know, I don't do a lot, but when I do go out and do things, I do have great experiences, you know, outside of work, even at work, everywhere, really. But I'm referring to more like on the weekends when I'm hanging out with people. Like, it's all there. It's enjoying and being grateful for the energy flow that I'm in, because it's definitely not a negative one. It's a very somber one at this point, and it's a uplifting, like, really mellow. It's like we're rising and we're not even trying. What? Yeah, just like Gwen Stefani sings. Rocket Ship. Look it up. It's a great song. Anyways, on that tangent, I just thought I would do another video tonight. I was thinking about doing one the other day, and just with all the events that have yeah, it's getting late. All the events that have happened, it was just really interesting to me how I noticed my reactions to stuff. It was, you know, I was just calm, collected. It was like, okay, got the spare, swap it out. It's not a big deal. Got to wait a couple hours. Still not a big deal. Gonna miss the sound bath. It's not a big deal because there's another one next weekend that I can try to make. So it's not like the world is ending or my life is over. And I used to think like that too, you know. Minimalize or maximize the situation, make it into something that it's not really, you know. Yeah, it's a trip. And all I do is just keep moving forward. Try to get into the tide to go with the flow, you know. Try to align myself with that flow. It hasn't been all that hard for me, I don't think, because I'm not being distracted by a bunch of other stuff. I mean, seriously, if I get too bored with myself and have to go out and look for entertainment or people to talk to, it's within a flow, but it's I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. But it seems like when I'm not trying to make plans with people, plans get made. So that's what I was trying to say. So crazy. But, you know, we get these ideas and these things we want to do, and we try to control or manipulate to make things happen. It usually doesn't work out in our favor. At least it doesn't for me in my experience, compared to when I just have an intention but not force anything to happen. Excuse me. And that's hard to do. It's hard to have an intention without create an intention without expectation, because that's the human side of us, creating expectation. When, you know, when you say to yourself, well, I've been trying so hard to manifest this or that, and that's the whole key, though. You're trying rather than allowing, and those are the two factors for me that I have to realize. When I'm allowing things happen smoother, and I usually get more, I benefit more from those situations versus, you know, trying to manifest and growing expectations and then being depressed when it doesn't happen or whatever, because I'm manipulating things to make the intention happen, and it usually doesn't happen, or it comes out sideways because I'm not allowing the energy to do what it needs to do. I'm trying to manipulate the energy. And you know, it's possible to do that. I've done it before where it works out in my favor, but it doesn't always work that way. And I think it goes to recognizing what my true intentions are when I'm doing something or when I'm with somebody. You know, I have to be clear on that, because if I'm not, then I'm gonna start so it's such a circus in my brain. I'll start to formulate scenarios, and then next thing you know, I'm acting out a character. I'm acting, you know, I don't know. It's so weird. It's just crazy. It's crazy, but you know, it's entertaining to a degree to watch things in life unfold and other things in life fold back up. I mean, I watch things unfold, I watch things fold back up. It's crazy. You just never know what's going to happen on this life, on this realm. Anything's possible. And I just want to get on and say, you know, there is hope. If you're struggling with stuff and just shit's just all fucked up, you know. I was talking to a friend today who her aunt got murdered back in the 80s, and so they have to revisit every year. I guess the guy who killed her tries to get something changed on his sentencing, and it never works. And you know, so we're talking about people who are murderers basically today. And you know, bottom line is, if you've come from a mentally ill family, or you yourself are mentally ill, and say you had the worst childhood ever, where you were being whatever, just bad things happen, right? And you don't seek to get some type of help or some type of direction outside of those experiences, you're slowly making a choice to not be a functioning member of the society. Not that that's such a great thing, because society's pretty messed up. What I'm meaning is, we're all responsible for our shit. The stuff we've been through, we got to deal with it. You know, and people that don't deal with it usually act out in major ways, life-threatening ways, spiritual ways. And I think it's everybody's responsibility to take care of their whatever, you know, their disorders in some way, shape, or fashion. Find out what works. Because at the end of the day, everything's a choice. So just because we might be born with a disorder, it's not there to be used as an excuse why someone can or can't do something. It's our responsibility to handle those situations so we are willing and able to do something with our lives, rather than go out and be a murderer or, you know, use people for a place to live or for whatever, every day's a choice, I live in this car by choice. There are some factors that help me make this choice, most definitely. But now I'm okay with it because I got what I need. I got my essential needs to carry on in life and do what I need to do on all levels of living. And I'm very blessed for that. It's like my life could be a lot worse than my life was a lot worse years ago, and I even had a place to stay. But my life and I was in a mental prison inside my head all the time because of the drugs I was doing and because of the situations I was getting into, because of the drugs I was doing. It was just a big snowball effect. And, today I'm not doing all those drugs. I take my meds and that's about it, I do my meds and I don't even drink, so, and that's huge for me. I've always drank. I quit everything for 10 years and then came back to the pot and the alcohol. More pot than alcohol, though. And of course the hallucinogenics, which I don't do. There's been a couple times, but I went from doing it weekly to, doing it maybe once every couple months. So it's like, it's not affecting me like it was. I can manage and do things and be active, but I was always like in this headspace, and I'm not in there. I'm not in that headspace no more. That all the serotonin was starting to create in the lack of. I did go into a huge depression after using for so long, and as much as I was using, I went through a pretty bad depression right about the time I started this channel too, because I wasn't able to get any anymore, and I was starting to focus on other things. It wasn't a big part of my life anymore because I realized it didn't need to be. So yeah, it's anything and everything is possible. If I get a pure intention of doing something, or something comes up and it's manageable, it's usually a good experience when I just allow things to happen rather than try to force them or speed them up. When the time's right, the good things do happen still. Always hope. Always hope. So I'm gonna call it a night. It's a great night tonight. It's nice and cool out here. It was not too bad of a day. It wasn't too hot, so I think we're starting to change into fall here pretty soon, which is nice. And I got to keep focusing on me. And I can get a little down at times when I can't get a hold of nobody to go hang out for a couple hours. It does get like, what, really? Or I feel like I'm bugging people, sometimes I don't want to do that. That's another thing I gotta work on, because sometimes I do need people. And I'll just continue moving on and making these videos here and there to maybe try to help somebody. Maybe try to say something that somebody needs to hear. Don't even know it, so I'll be around. Namaste to you, because awareness uplifts and loves you. Have a good night.